Today's finally the wedding day.
Are you sure you didn't oversleep?
Grandma, that was back in elementary school. I'm a responsible adult now.
To me, you're still my little granddaughter. And now you're marrying some man I barely know. Time really flies.
Some man? I introduced you to James. He's the kindest, most sincere person.
Sincerity shows through actions, not words.
Well, James isn't the problem. It's his father that worries me.
What do you mean?
His dad seems quite impressive, though. He's a CEO after all.
Red flag right there.
But he always seems so proper. James says he had a rough period years ago, but he's settled down now.
Let's not worry the bride with my silly concerns. Just my prejudice speaking. Pay it no mind.
You always say that when something's bothering you. What aren't you telling me?
Nothing worth mentioning on your wedding day.
Grandma.
Did you remember to pack your emergency kit? Band-aids, safety pins?
Already in my bag. You taught me well about being prepared.
More importantly, don't be late for your own wedding.
Of course not. I want you to see me in my wedding dress. I'm so grateful that you raised me alone after my parents passed.
Well, there wasn't anyone else to do it.
There's that emotional deflection again. You've always been like that, Grandma, unable to be honest with your feelings. Remember when I drew your portrait in elementary school?
Can't say I do.
You took one look at it and said, "Is this a new species of monkey?" I was so hurt thinking my drawing looked like a monkey.
Well, you were terrible at drawing.
Hey! You didn't have to put it so bluntly. But I know you still have the portrait hanging up. I love that about you. How you act tough but are actually so sweet.
No, it's still up because it was too much trouble to take down. Less keeping it up and more haven't bothered to remove it.
Sure. Just like how you happened to be nearby when I sprained my ankle at work last month.
I was in the area for a meeting.
At 9 p.m. in my neighborhood.
Business never sleeps.
Right. Just like you accidentally bought too many groceries last week and had to give me the extras.
My eyes aren't what they used to be. Misread the quantities.
All my favorite foods, though?
Coincidence.
You're the one who couldn't wait to see me in my wedding dress, calling me first thing in the morning.
Wrong. I was just making sure you weren't late.
Is that why you've been texting me every hour since dawn?
Time management is important.
I saw you sneak that envelope into my purse yesterday.
Must have been the wind.
The wind stuffed an envelope full of wedding emergency money into my bag?
Stranger things have happened.
Whatever you say, Grandma. See you later, then.
Such a cheeky girl.
Mr. Davidson, please stop banging on the changing room door. I'm trying to dry my dress.
What's the holdup? There can't be a wedding without a bride. Get out here!
Why did you throw beer on me earlier?
Like I said before, I can't accept someone from the bottom of the barrel as my son's wife. Sorry to do this mid-ceremony, but this wedding is off.
Mr. Davidson, what's gotten into you? You're not acting like yourself.
Huh? What would someone like you know about me? I hear you don't even have parents and didn't go to college.
You knew all this before the engagement.
I was tolerating it because James chose you, but I can't anymore. James is supposed to inherit my company, and we can't have him married to someone worthless.
What kind of way is that to talk? Women aren't men's accessories.
High-caliber men deserve high-caliber women, and vice versa. You're not worthy of my son.
I have a steady job, and I'm independent, even without a degree.
The bottom stays at the bottom no matter how hard they try. You had quite a poor childhood, didn't you?
Yes. I lived with just my grandmother. Money was tight.
I've been living the high life since I was born. Still am. There's nothing I can't buy. I built this company myself. I've got money to burn.
You're quite full of yourself.
Well, when you're actually important, what can you do? I could buy any luxury car, penthouse, or caviar I want. Someone poor like you couldn't even imagine it.
Luxury cars, penthouses, caviar? What kind of list is that? Stop banging on the door. I'll call security.
Go ahead. I can easily buy off security at a cheap venue like this.
Where is James? Does he know you're doing this?
My son is being talked to by some reasonable people who understand business. He'll come around.
What do you mean, reasonable people? What are you doing to him?
Just having a father-son chat about his future. About how marrying beneath him will destroy everything we built.
James isn't like you. He doesn't care about status or money.
That's exactly the problem. He needs to learn how the real world works.
The real world isn't just about money and power, Mr. Davidson.
Says the girl hiding in the changing room. Come out and face reality.
I'm not hiding. I'm trying to save the dress your tantrum ruined.
That cheap thing? I'll buy you 10 better ones if you walk away now.
This isn't about the money. My grandmother helped me choose it.
Ah, yes, your precious grandmother. Another nobody who raised you to be a nothing.
Don't you dare talk about my grandmother that way.
Hit a nerve, did I? Face it, you're both from the gutter, and that's where you belong.
My grandmother taught me something money can't buy. Dignity.
Dignity? Don't make me laugh. What dignity is there in poverty?
There's more dignity in honest work than in throwing your weight around and bullying people.
You call this bullying? This is just business. I'm offering you a way out.
A way out of what? Being happy with James?
Being happy? You think love pays the bills? Keeps you in luxury? Gives you status?
James and I don't need luxury. We have plans of our own.
Oh, right. That ridiculous cafe dream of his. Another example of how you corrupted him.
I didn't give him that dream. He's always wanted it, long before he met me.
And you encourage his nonsense instead of supporting the family business.
Supporting? You mean forcing him into a life he doesn't want?
Just leave me alone.
Why are you being so cruel?
I'm just telling you the truth. This wedding is canceled. If you don't comply, I'll crush you with my power, you worthless trash.
I am Sarah's grandmother. It seems my granddaughter has caused you some trouble.
Yeah, your bottom-feeder granddaughter thinks she can marry my elite son.
And what's wrong with that?
Everything! This world runs on balance. I hate imbalance. You can't have trash sitting next to jewels.
Trash?
Yeah, your granddaughter.
Such harsh words. You seemed somewhat sincere when we met before. Alcohol really brings out the worst in you. I see my initial judgment wasn't wrong.
What are you babbling about, old lady? Take your poor bride and get lost. You're probably unemployed too. Go job hunting.
A job? Did you forget what I just said? I run a company that does business with yours. I'm saying that business relationship ends now.
What? Your company? Doing business of mine? Come on. I may be drunk, but I'm not drunk enough to believe such obvious lies.
Would you like to check your phone? I believe your secretary is trying to reach you.
My phone? What are you talking about?
Go ahead. Look at your messages.
Fine, if it'll shut you up. Wait, what's this? Urgent? Wellington Group halting all transactions?
This is no lie, Mr. Davison of Davison Foods. Wellington Group will no longer be investing in your company.
These messages, they're from my board members. But how did you...
I am Margaret Wellington, chairman of Wellington Group. You've said some terrible things to my granddaughter.
What? Wellington chairman? No way! Wellington Group is one of the largest corporations in the country.
Yes, and we've been quite generous with our investment in Davison Foods. Until now.
But that's impossible! Margaret Wellington is...
Is what, Mr. Davison? Too important to be at her granddaughter's wedding? Too powerful to care about family?
This has to be some kind of joke. Margaret Wellington wouldn't be...
Wouldn't be what? Living modestly? raising her granddaughter away from the spotlight. Some of us don't need to broadcast our wealth to feel important.
But if you're really... Why didn't you say anything before?
Because unlike you, I don't measure people's worth by their bank accounts or social status.
The partnership agreement. Our expansion plans.
All contingent on Wellington Group's continued support. Which, as you can see from those messages, is being withdrawn.
You can't do this! Do you know how many years I've spent building these relationships?
Precisely 3 years, 4 months, and 12 days. That's how long Wellington Group has been propping up Davidson Foods. Would you like me to share the exact figures?
This will ruin everything!
Perhaps you should have thought about that before throwing beer at my granddaughter and calling her trash.
I didn't know! If I had known who you were!
And that's exactly the problem, isn't it? You only show respect to those you think can benefit you. And that's not respect at all.
Look, we could talk about this.
I'm flattered by your recognition, though it seems to come rather late. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. We're ending our business relationship.
Wait, are you serious?
If you don't believe me, I'll instruct our representatives to halt all transactions. You should receive notification shortly.
I'm so terribly sorry. I had no idea you were Chairman Wellington.
Whether you knew or not is irrelevant. Your treatment of my precious granddaughter remains the same.
I was drunk and got carried away. I didn't mean any harm.
Blaming the alcohol? How noble. You will compensate for the beer-stained dress, of course, and apologize to her.
Of course, that goes without saying.
Beyond that, I won't forgive you, and we will be terminating our contract.
I understand. How much money would it take to earn your forgiveness?
Immediately resorting to money, I see. Didn't you just say there's nothing I can't buy?
Well, that was just a joke. But I do have plenty of money. If you name your price, I'll pay you.
No, thank you.
Please, I'm begging you. My company needs Wellington Group support.
And why should I continue supporting someone who showed such contempt for my family?
I'll make it right. Double our current investment terms. Triple them.
You still don't understand, do you? This isn't about money.
Then what is it about? Just tell me what you want.
Let me tell you about something money can't buy. Trust.
What?
You act high and mighty, then blame alcohol when things go wrong, trying to solve everything with money. Even if you have money, nobody trusts someone like that. Even I, as a company chairman, value my employees' trust.
My employees trust me. They respect me.
Do they? I heard from your employees in the smoking area earlier. They told me they were forced to use their vacation days to attend today. They weren't happy about that. They clearly don't trust you, and I can't trust a CEO who gives such unreasonable orders.
That's standard practice. Everyone does it.
Is that what you tell yourself to justify your actions?
Look, I've been in business for decades. Sometimes you have to be firm with employees.
Firm? Is that what you call forcing them to attend a wedding on their vacation days?
They should be honored to attend. This is a major social event.
Honored to watch their CEO throw beer on an innocent bride?
That was different. I told you I was drunk.
And that makes it acceptable? Is that the kind of example you set for your employees?
You can say that because you run a big company. People around you don't really care about you either. They just bow to you because you're the chairman. Trust has nothing to do with it.
Is that truly what you believe? That respect can only be bought?
That's how the world works. You're just pretending to be noble.
You know, I started small too. Built everything from scratch.
So did I. I worked my way up.
And somewhere along the way, you forgot what it means to treat people with dignity.
Dignity doesn't pay the bills. Results do.
Earning people's trust is indeed the hardest thing in the world. That's why I would never say there's nothing I can't buy. Because I know trust can't be bought.
This is ridiculous. You're just using this as an excuse to destroy my company.
Your actions today have consequences, Mr. Davidson. Nothing more, nothing less.
Just tell me what it would take to fix this. Name anything.
What about your son's happiness? Would you sacrifice that for your company?
James will understand once he inherits everything. This is all for him.
Are you certain about that? When was the last time you asked him what he wanted?
I know what's best for my son. He needs to learn about the real world.
The real world? Or your world, Mr. Davidson?
They're the same thing. Money talks.
And what does it say about a father who ruined his son's wedding day?
Damn it!
I hope you understand now.
Fine.
What is it?
Acting so high and mighty. Well, you are important, so I guess you can't help it. But don't get cocky, you poor old hag.
Oh, getting defiant now. Your true colors showing through again.
Once our contract ends, my company is finished anyway. You know that too, so there's no need for polite speech anymore.
I see. I'll overlook your attitude and words for now, but what will you do?
What do you mean, what will I do?
Well, I never had anyone choose to make an enemy of me before. I don't know what happens, though personally, I wouldn't want to leave behind a trail of bad deeds on my way out.
Are you threatening me now?
This isn't a threat, just common sense. If word gets out about how you called a former business partner an old hag and threw beer on her granddaughter, well, that kind of story could lead to bankruptcy.
You wouldn't dare.
I wouldn't have to do anything. News has a way of traveling in business circles.
You destroy years of business relationships just to protect your granddaughter?
No, Mr. Davidson. You're destroying them yourself, with every word you speak.
That's not... Damn it! You're looking down on me. I admit defeat. So if you could, please apologize to Sarah.
No need. I'm fine.
You really dote on your granddaughter. You should tone it down.
Doting? Perhaps. But more than anything, I respect her.
Respect?
I've never known anyone as kind and sincere as her. Wellington Group grew this large because Sarah was there to comfort me. I could never claim I built this company by myself.
A company built on sentiment? That's absurd!
Is it? Then why is my company thriving while yours depends on our support?
That's different.
When someone you respect is insulted, you can't stay quiet. So please apologize to her and stay out of their marriage and never contact them again.
Stay out of their marriage?
Those two love each other deeply. When you threw beer on my granddaughter, James tried to shield her with his body. And when you were spouting abuse, he stood up to you strongly. That put my mind at ease a bit.
But as a father, I need to judge if she's worthy of my son.
No, it's the opposite. I'm the one who judges if he's worthy of my granddaughter.
Listen, I'm sorry about earlier. I was drunk and said terrible things.
It's fine, though my dress is ruined.
I'll compensate for the wedding dress, of course, and I'll pay for the entire wedding ceremony as damages.
Really? Are you sure?
And I won't interfere with your marriage to James anymore. I promise not to disturb your married life.
Oh, about that. James says he's cutting ties with you.
What?
He says he won't contact you anymore, so I suppose you won't be seeing us anyway.
Wait a minute. James is supposed to inherit my company. That's how I raised him.
I probably shouldn't say this, but James hates how you always worry about the company first. He says, Father only cared about the company and appearances, never about me as a person.
What are you talking about? I was thinking about James's future.
Excuse me, but weren't you only thinking about the company's future and your own? Do you even know what James really wanted to do?
What he wanted to do?
If you were thinking about his future, you know his dream.
Of course I know what he wants. He wants...
You can't even say it, can you?
He wants success, power, the respect that comes with running a major corporation.
Those are your dreams, Mr. Davidson, not his.
Then what? What could be better than what I'm offering him?
James wants to open his own cafe. He says he's going to work toward that dream now.
A cafe? It's absurd. He can have everything, and he wants to serve coffee?
He wants to create a place where people feel welcome, where they can relax and be themselves.
That's ridiculous. He's throwing everything away I built for him.
No, He's building something for himself, something that makes him happy.
Happy? What's happiness without success?
What's success without happiness?
Wait, that means the company and I are finished. Look, we can work something out. He can have his cafe. I'll buy him the finest restaurant in the city.
That's not what he wants. He wants to build it himself, from the ground up.
Then I'll invest. Be a silent partner. Anything.
Mr. Davidson, you're still not listening.
I'll pay for the dress, the ceremony, and add compensation too. How much do you want?
The dress needs to be paid for since it's rented, but we don't need money for the ceremony or compensation. We'll continue with the ceremony as planned, and we're not after your money.
Come on, name your price. Hundreds of thousands? Millions? I'll give you whatever you want.
No, we don't want it. This isn't about money.
Then what is it about? Tell me. I'll do anything.
It's about trust. About being seen for who you are, not what you own.
I don't understand.
That's exactly why James is making this choice.
But he's my son. My only son.
And he'll always be your son, but he needs to live his own life.
What am I supposed to do? Everything I did for him.
Maybe it's time to think about what he wants to do for himself.
Please, there must be something.
Mr. Davidson, some things can't be solved with money.
Then how? How do I fix this?
Start by seeing James as a person, not an heir. Start by respecting his choices, even if you don't understand them.
But everything I built will all be for nothing.
No, not for nothing. But maybe it's time to build something new. Something based on understanding, not control.
Please. Please, I'm begging you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Davidson. This is James' decision, and I support him completely.
Just tell him I'm sorry. Tell him I'll change.
Those are words he needs to hear from you directly, but not today. Today is our wedding day, and it's time for you to leave. Despite everything, the ceremony finished safely.
James is a good man. The way he tried to protect Sarah from his own father.
I told you he was a good person. You don't need to worry, Grandma.
You're right, he passes. And now that he's cut ties with his father, there is nothing to worry about.
Though, it was strange. He went from insulting me to suddenly apologizing.
Oh really? He must have had a change of heart. Too late now, though.
Grandma, did you do something? Like cleverly threaten him?
What are you talking about? There'd be no point in that.
There would be, because you love me so much. You probably couldn't stand someone insulting me.
Huh? I don't feel anything special.
Funny how his board members all messaged him at the exact same time.
Pure coincidence.
And how he kept checking his phone with this panicked look.
Maybe he had urgent business matters.
Right. Just how you happen to know exactly how long his company had been working with Rellington Group.
I read the business news.
And those employees in the smoking area just happen to tell you everything?
People like to chat.
You're impossible, you know that?
I have no idea what you mean.
James told me he saw you talking to the venue security right before they escorted Mr. Davidson out.
I was complimenting them on their professional appearance.
For 20 minutes?
I'm very thorough with my compliments.
And I suppose you just happen to have all those company documents ready to show him?
A businesswoman is always prepared.
Well, think whatever you like.
I will.
You know, James says you remind him of a chess grandmaster.
Nonsense. I only play occasionally.
He means how you can think 10 steps ahead.
I simply observe.
And plan, and protect.
Now you're being dramatic.
I see. Still as dishonest as ever. But thank you, Grandma.
For what? I didn't do anything.
Of course not. Just like you didn't arrange for the best photographer in town to accidentally be available today.
Lucky coincidence.
And the cake from that famous bakery that's usually booked years in advance.
They had a cancellation.
On the exact day of my wedding.
These things happen.
I love you, you impossible woman.
The ceremony's over. Shouldn't you be with your husband?
There's that deflection again. After that, Mr. Davidson was thrown out of the venue. Soon after, his company's management declined. And when his dissatisfied employees staged a mass boycott, the company went bankrupt. Though Mr. Davidson tried several times to contact James afterward, James firmly refused. Since we moved away when we got married, we don't know how Mr. Davidson is doing now. I wonder how someone who could only obtain things with money is living now that he's lost it all. Years later, James opened his cafe, fulfilling his dream. I help him run the shop and live happily every day. Grandma visits the shop frequently, though she always says I just happen to be passing by. I wonder how she happens to pass by our small town in the next county 3 times a week.